DreAllDay.com.
I want to talk about the gravitational pull of negativity. Y'all need to check in. But anyway, we're going to get right into it. I want y'all to understand, y'all got to understand this with negativity. Y'all know what negativity is. You know negativity is not good for you. You know it pulls you down. You know it keeps you from reaching your goals. Montenegro, that's what I thought. Shout out to Montenegro. It keeps you from reaching your goals, and it keeps you from being the person you want to be. Because when you're negative, you move slower. When you're negative, you make fewer decisions. When you're negative, it's hard to think positively. It's hard to think proactively. It's hard to take action when you're negative. Anytime you got negative thoughts, it slows you down from being your best person. Because you can have, see, some people think like when you're negative, you won't do nothing. That's not actually true. So you could be negative, you could do a whole lot of stuff while you're being negative, but you're just not doing it at the highest level you could possibly do it. Because if you're thinking about, let's say you're fearful of something going wrong, but you still got to go to work and make 10 phone calls, you're still going to make the 10 phone calls, but you're not going to make it with the same level of energy. It's not going to be the same level of energy in your voice when you're making those calls because you're negative, because you're thinking about what that person's going to say. You're thinking they might hang up on you. You think you're going to get fired. You think you're not going to make no commission if you don't make a sale. So negativity is not going to stop you from doing things. Like, you're still going to do the things you're supposed to do. What it does, though, is it slows you down and it limits you from doing things at your highest possible level. And the reason I call it the gravitational pull is because negativity is just like gravity. Y'all know what gravity is, right? When you jump in the air, you get pulled back down to the ground by gravity. If you jump off the 10th story of a building, you're going straight down and you're probably going to die because gravity is pulling you down. Gravity pulls objects to the earth at 9.8 meters per second. That's some physics for y'all right there. And negativity does the exact same thing. So when you are negative, it's not like it is kind of like a magnet, but it's like gravity. Gravity, the earth is a magnet itself. That's a whole different conversation that I'm not qualified to teach. But what you have to understand is that negativity, any type of negative energy you have, any amount of negative energy you have, anywhere within your mind for anything that you do, is pulling you back down to the ground like gravity. So even if you jump high like LeBron James, even if you super fast like Kyrie Irving, or whoever it is you want to name this super athletic, somebody who can jump high, somebody who's really strong, no matter how high you jump, that gravitational pull of negativity is always pulling on you a little bit, keeping you from going as high as you can possibly go. Does everybody understand that? All right, there you go, 9.8 meters per second. That's how fast gravity pulls you down to the earth. Now, how much money can anybody make with that piece of information? Probably none, but they make you learn that in school. See, that's a scam of the educational system. And that's not just in the United States, that's everywhere. But again, that's a different conversation. Actually, I think I did that on my podcast, but if I didn't, I'm going to do it. But everybody, that's the message that I want y'all to get this morning. Understand any negativity you got in your mind is going to be pulling you down. So what you need to do is get rid of that negativity. I'm going to give you a couple steps to get rid of that negativity. Why would we learn physics? I don't know. You got to ask the people who put together the school district, which is not me. What you're going to do to get rid of negativity, number one, you got to recognize when you have any. And when you do have some negativity, when you find some negativity within you, you must find the equal and opposite energy, actually a twice as strong energy of positivity to get rid of the negative. You got to understand that when you have a negative thought, and I heard someone say this, I don't know if it's scientific or whatever, but when you have a negative thought, it takes 17 positive thoughts to cancel out one negative thought. 17 positive thoughts are needed to cancel out one piece of negative thought energy. So when you have a negative thought, you need to find at least double the power positivity to replace it. Because you can't just get rid of a negative thought and just pull it out, and then what you're going to have is a vacuum. You're going to have an empty space. So what you need to do is replace that with something else. See, if you're a smoker, you can't just say I'm going to stop smoking, because the same time and energy that you used to spend smoking, you got to fill it with something else. Because if you don't, then your habits are going to take you right back to smoking again. So you got to replace the negativity with the positivity. So anytime you find yourself with a negative thought, you got to find a positive thought to take the place of that negative thought. So how are you going to do that? Number one thing you got to do is, first of all, you got to sit down, turn the radio off, turn the periscope off, turn the TV off, and you got to come up with a list of positive thoughts, a list of positive reasons, a list of positive reminders, positive ideas. Those could be blog posts, it could be something I said right here, it could be a clip out of a book, it could be a tweet that somebody said, it could be an Instagram post, a YouTube video that you downloaded illegally. Whatever it is, you got to find something positive to cancel out that negative. But you got to have them ready. You got to have them ready. You can't just need something positive and be like, damn, where can I find something positive? You got to have it ready for you already. So what you need to do is start putting together this list now before you need it. Not later when you need it, before you need it. So be prepared ahead of time. So when it's time to call on it, you got it ready. It's kind of like if you're going into a gunfight, you can't go into a gunfight and then you get there, the other guys pull their guns, and you're like, all right, well, let me go find a gun. No, you got to have the gun already. You got to have some bullets in it, and you got to know how to shoot the damn thing. By that time, it's too late. So you got to have all this stuff ready for you ahead of time. So when you don't need it, that's when you prepare. So when you do need it, you are over prepared. It's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. Everybody follow what I just said. Let me take questions. This is Dre All Day. I got a podcast called Work on Your Game. I'm going to tell you to go listen to that podcast. It's free. It's every day. The type of stuff that I'm talking about here, if you want to go a little bit deeper, that's where it's at on my podcast. You want to go deeper than that, I got courses for that on my website. You want to go deeper than that, I do coaching, I do consulting, I do a lot of stuff. I got books too, even somewhere in between that. So let me take any questions anybody got. Thank you for sharing on Twitter. Felonious C. Jones. Anybody got a question, I will wait a minute to take a couple of questions. My name is Dre Baldwin, checking in from South Florida. We are talking about the gravitational pull of negativity this morning. I want all y'all to have a fantastic Thursday. I'm on Snapchat too. My Snap is at Dre Baldwin. It's in my Periscope bio. My Snap name, Dre Baldwin, my first name, last name. I do Snap often. I do respond to Snaps if you ask me a good question. If the question is whack, I won't respond to it, but you can still ask it. I won't take it personal. What's the weather out there? The weather here is always the same. It's always beautiful. It's always warm. It's always humid. For the most part, most of the time it's sunny. Listen to my podcast while running. That's what's up. How far did you run? The Science of Getting Rich on my reading list. Who's the author of the book? Samantha 22. What's going on? You came in late, but you can catch the replay. Sanderm 4. What's the number one book you recommend? Go to my reading list at dreallday.com/read. You can't read one book. There's no number one book. You need to read all of them. It's like people say to me, what's the number one skill you need to play basketball? You can't play basketball with one skill. You need all of them. All right, shout out to the people running 3 miles. 3 miles and up. There's no one skill for basketball. There's no one book. If you want to be a person of value, you can't read one book. You got to read 100 books, and you need to read them more than once so that you actually know the information, not just say that you read it. Author is Wallace D. Waddles. All right, thank you for the recommendation. All right, everybody, hit me on Snap at Dre Baldwin with any questions. Y'all have a great Thursday. Work on your game. DreAllDay.com. If you're on Snapchat, hit me on the Snap. My Snap name is at Dre Baldwin. You already know how that works. And I got a podcast, if you didn't know. It is called Work on Your Game. It is an everyday podcast where I talk about getting yourself into the right mindset, that bulletproof mindset. Getting yourself seen, heard, known. Getting the exposure you want and making things happen in your life instead of waiting for things to happen to or for you. Subscribe to that podcast when you're on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Stitcher. Make sure you check it every single day. Make sure you're subscribed so you catch the heat. Work on your game. Dre Ball, Dre Ball, Dre Ball. I feel like Dre Ball, Dre Ball, Dre Ball. I feel like Dre Ball, Dre Ball. I'm ballin'. I feel like Dre